I have a life update that I'm tired of hiding. It's to me, it's a pretty big deal what's going on. Some of you who know my story know that I stepped on a rusty nail 12 years ago, and I got an infection, and I've almost died several times from sepsis, septic shock, all that stuff from the infection. And it's been an ongoing thing for a long time, 12 years. Um, I wrote about it in some of my content since it was like the 12-year anniversary. But what I didn't say is that I actually have not been feeling well, really, really since it's longer, really since March, but really bad since the beginning of July. I've been in and out of the ER, doctors, all kinds of stuff. And I moved to Denver, so I have new doctors for the first time. And what I found out is a couple of things. The biggest is that I may have had the wrong diagnosis this entire time, which means that for the last 12 years, all of the treatments, everything I abided by, um, the quality of life that I had, which was low in sometimes, the 8 years of daily antibiotics, all of that could potentially have been all wrong. And um, all of the doctors have apologized to me, saying that someone should have caught this a long, long time ago. So here's a couple of things. One is that I have um, tested positive for a really rare gene that causes something called ankylosing spondylitis. So I do have that. There's no cure, but there are treatments. I just haven't been into the specialists to know what they are. Um, the other is that they're testing me for other bacterias because the doctors up here don't believe it's actually from the rusty nail. They think it could be something entirely different, but they don't know. And also, the ankylosing spondylitis that I have does not cause sepsis. So they don't, I don't have answers for that. They don't have answers for that yet. This past week, I was back. I couldn't walk at all on Tuesday. I was back in the ER. I felt really ill and really discouraged. And it's just a lot to process. So, um, on the one hand, I'm very thankful, and I know people will say this in the comments, but I'm very thankful that I'm here in Denver and that I have different doctors and that I'm getting answers. On the other hand, it's a lot to process in that for the last 12 years, I've talked to so many doctors and they never listened to me. They just, and they would say, they would, and I even told my daughter, I said, when I go to the ER, this is what they're going to say. Because they say the same thing every single time. And they give me the same diagnosis, give me the same treatment. I said, this is exactly what happens. And nobody ever listens to me. And it's exactly what happened. Um, and the fact that for 12 years that nobody listened. And two of my doctors, they apologized. Just they were shocked that nobody has tested me for some of these other things. So on the one hand, it's a very positive thing, even though there's no cure. On the other hand, I know that in life, there'll be a grieving process and a forgiveness process because I feel like I've lost 12 years in some aspects. And there have been times where my quality of life has really been a struggle. The forgiveness aspect comes from three things. One is the doctors. I know they were trying to help me. Um, in fact, my case is taken around the world. I am written up in the Journal of Medicine. Like, it's rare, and they literally are taking my case around the world, and it might be wrong. So there's that. There's forgiveness for other people in my personal life. I'm going to say, especially with people like my ex-in-laws and so forth, who are very judgmental, and being told I was lazy and selfish and that I didn't do certain things, when the reality was I've been very, very sick. And then forgiveness towards myself, because I have probably been the meanest to myself, in that there's so many things I want to accomplish, like my book. I've been writing this book for, I don't know, 80 years. And well, now there's a whole different twist to it. But in my career, like, why can't I keep up with it? Like, why can't I work as hard as some of these other speakers? And, the sayings that are in my head of the only person stopping you from achieving things is you. And those kinds of thoughts that I tell myself, because that's what we're taught, without realizing, no, I really actually was really sick this entire time. Like, I have been doing the best that I can, and I'm not lazy. The other thing too is that I do have PTSD from almost dying, and one of my go-tos with PTSD, one of my top one coping mechanisms, is walking. I walk a minimum of 4 to 5 miles a day. Movement, just getting that extra anxiety energy out, physically out of my body. And I haven't been able to walk because it's too painful. And so I've been stuck at home, alone, and I'm okay with that because I'm a total introvert. But not being able to take care of my mental health during this time has also been a real struggle. With all that being said, it did make me think about, like, it's just going to be such a process. What do you do when the stories you've been told and that you abided by are wrong? So for me, the diagnosis that I've been told I've had by multiple doctors for 12 years most likely is wrong. So all of the treatments, all of the things I did weren't correct. And what do you do with that? What do you do if y'all, I married a Christian counselor, and then I married a worship pastor, and I was such a good girl. I didn't even sleep with either of my husbands before we were married. I have done so much Christian marriage counseling, I could probably have a degree. And I did what they said, and looking back, it was so wrong what they told me to do. So what do you do when you reach success and you're not happy? Or you do all the things they say for your health and you're still sick? Or you do everything everybody says about you, or you believe about yourself, and it's not true. And honestly, I don't know the answer yet, because I'm literally walking through this myself. So some of my friends, a few of my friends know, hardly anybody knows about this. They've asked what can they do to help, and honestly, I don't know. I do love to work, so having things to look forward to work wise is really great.